I live in Yellow Springs, and the Yellow Springs Senior Center publishes stories and poems by the senior citizens. And I've published, this will be my fourth story. Okay, and now I'll start. The story in Pulaski is called December 7th. I was born on a small Appalachian farm in Pulaski County, Kentucky in January 1938. I was the youngest of 5 children that survived. The farm did not have electricity. The farm was mostly worked by hand with the aid of 2 horses and a mule. When I was about 3 years old, the event that I described was so unusual and upsetting to me that I still clearly remember it. Our farm, like most of my neighbors, had 2 main sources of income: tobacco and cream. Growing tobacco was a lot of work. The daily mornings searching for green tobacco worms, and each leaf was hot work, and the sweat beads were vicious if you did not wear a shirt, but normally it was too hot to wear a shirt in the sunny summer mornings. We milked 4 to 6 cows and separated the cream from the milk. The cream was stored in cream cans and picked up by the creamery truck 2 or 3 times a week. The skim milk was fed to the chickens and pigs. When my oldest brother Brady was 17 years old in 1936, he asked our mother to let him enlist in the Army Air Force and skip his senior year in high school. He said he did not wish to be a farmer and he could not stand the sweat beads any longer. So the farm lost a needed worker that year. Our second oldest brother, Bill, was 17 in 1937 and asked our mother to also let him skip his senior year and enlist in the Navy. The farm lost another needed worker. The military services were accepting only men 18 years or older, or 17 years with the mother's permission. My mother gave birth to me in her farm bed in January 1938. I saw Brady a few times before the war started, and I saw Bill once. I have a photo taken in the summer of 1938 by a traveling photographer showing our family of 7 in front of the porch of the farmhouse. We were dressed in our Sunday clothes, or perhaps clothes on loan from the photographer. This was the last time that we would be together until after the war. Sunday was the day of rest, or at least the day of some rest for us and our neighbors. My mother liked to have friends over for after church dinner and sit and talk. And then everyone left to go home to do their chores and have supper. This Sunday was December 7th, 1941. It was almost supper time. The chores were mostly completed. The cows were being milked by my father and my third brother, Steuben. Daylight was fading away. Mom lit the safety lantern and set it on the table. I was locked in my high chair to keep me out of the way. Mom and my sister Joyce fired up the kitchen range. And as normal, at 5 p.m., Mom turned on the radio that was connected to the car battery to listen to the WDLW Farm Wife program. Something was wrong. The announcer was very exciting. He was telling it about the surprise Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor Naval Base and airfields that morning, and that lots of ships were sunk and lots of soldiers and sailors were dead. Mom screamed and grabbed the lantern off the table and said, "Joyce, we must run and tell your father." And out the door they went. I yelled, "Wait, take me away, I want to go to the barn." But I was left in the dark room, locked in my high chair, not knowing what would happen to me. So I cried and screamed. At this point, we want to insert the illustration that Andy made. That shows me an isolated prisoner and wanting to go to the barn, but being ignored, left in the dark. Then I heard my father at the barn yell, "No!" Soon Mom and Joyce returned. Mom was crying. I thought she was crying because I was crying. I said, "Mom, don't cry, I'm okay now." Mom gave me a hug and said, "I'm crying about your brother Bill." She continued to cry while working for supper. Soon Dad and Steuben came also, the shortest milking on record. And the neighbors came that evening to listen to the radio. I suspect they stayed very late. The Navy was so disorganized after the attack, before alerting Washington about the attack, they had to put the report in secret code before transmitting it. Washington had to decode the report before reading it. This took too much time. Some newspaper reporters were able to send wireless reports to their U.S. offices, and that most alarming report was the one that was broadcast on the radio and in the newspapers, and that we had heard. Then the Navy clamped down censorship so that we could not get any news about which ships were damaged and sunk. We knew that my brother Bill was in Pearl Harbor in the battleship USS Maryland. About a month after the attack, we got a postcard from Bill that said, "I am well." Soon after the attack, Mom gathered all the items that was made in Japan, which included all of her treasured souvenirs and my treasured toy blue car with wheels that were to turn and holes for the windows. When you looked in the windows, you could read Texaco on the inside of the car. She smashed all the Japanese-made items and buried them deep in our garden. Eventually, Bill told us his story. Bill was in charge of an anti-aircraft gun. At 8 a.m., when the manual battle station's alarm was sounded, Bill woke up but could not get his crew up. So he began to beat them with a broom handle. The ship was hit with two large bombs and jumped in the air. Did the crew jump out of bed and rush to the battle station? They missed the first attack but were ready when the second attack came. His crew did not understand how they got so many bruises, and Bill never told them. The USS Maryland was badly damaged and sent to Washington State for a 2-year repair. Bill was offered a transfer to submarines or minesweepers. He selected minesweepers and had an interesting rest of the war. That's my story.